Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now, have you ever encountered this issue that when you create the purchase order for a particular material code and you enter this material code in this material field and press enter, you get this error. Now, if you open up this error, you can see here the system says account assignment mandatory for material 1101. And for some cases you would have seen that when you create a PO for a material and when you do the goods receipt, no stock updation happens. So today we'll learn the concept of valuated material, non-valuated material and non-stock material. We'll understand that what is difference between a valuated material and a non-valuated material, and what is the difference between a non-valuated material and a non-stock material. We'll see how we create these kind of materials and why this error of account assignment is coming in the purchase order when I'm trying to create the purchase order with a particular material code. Now, before we start, if you're new to my channel or haven't subscribed yet, then I would request you to kindly subscribe to my channel to get early notifications of all my content. So now let's start understanding what is a valuated, what is a non-valuated and what is a non-stock material. So let's imagine that you are running a coffee house. Now in the coffee house, you have multiple kind of materials. The major material that you will be dealing with is coffee, that is your raw material. Now, since this is the major raw material in your business, so you would like to track the quantity and the value both of this raw material. That is, you would want to see in your inventory how much quantity of the coffee is lying with how much value. Okay. So this kind of a material where you want to track the value and quantity both, that is your raw material, that is coffee in this case. In SAP, this is called as a valuated material. That is a material for which you want to track the quantity and the value both is called a valuated material. Now let's say that you have another material, that is paper cups. Now a paper cup is a very low value item. At any moment of time, you would want to know how much paper cups are there in your coffee house, but you will not be more interested in tracking the value of those cups because you have to do the planning of the inventory. So you will want to track the quantity of those paper cups, but you will not be much interested in the value of those paper cups. So this kind of material where you are tracking the quantity but not tracking the value is called a non-valuated material. Now let's take example of a third material. Let's say that you have straws in your coffee house. Now value of these straws are even lower than your paper cups. Okay, they are very low value items, and for this particular item you will not even want to track the quantity because you will always buy these straws in huge quantities and you will not be bothered much about the availability of these straws. That is why you would not be interested in seeing the quantity or the value of these straws at any moment. So these kind of material where you are not going to track the quantity and the value both is called a non-stock material. Okay, so now you understand that a valuated material is a material for which you are going to track the quantity and the value both. A non-valuated material is a material for which you are going to track the quantity, but you are not going to track the values. And a non-stock material is a material where you are not going to track the quantity and the value both. In other terms, you can understand that when you are doing the goods receipt of these kind of material, then for a valuated material, when you do the goods receipt, the quantity and the value will be updated in the system. For non-valuated material, where you want to track the quantity but do not want to track the value, by doing a goods receipt, the quantity will get updated, that is your inventory will get increased, but the value will not be shown. And for such material, when you run the inventory report, no value will be shown. Okay, and the third kind of material where you have a non-stock material, when you do the GR, neither quantity nor value update will happen. So you can understand through these three examples. You have coffee, which is the major raw material. You are going to track the quantity and the value. You have paper cups where you are going to track the quantity but you are not going to track the value. And you have straws for which you do not want to track quantity and you do not want to track the value also. So coffee is a raw material which is a valuated material. Paper cups is a consumable which is a non-valuated material, and the straws is also a consumable item but it is a non-stock material. So now let's see in SAP how we can create these kind of material and what is the determining factor which determines that a material is valuated or non-valuated or it is a non-stock material. So let's see in SAP. So now let's see in SAP how we can create a valuated, non-valuated and non-stock material and what is the configuration behind it. So the only factor which determines that whether a material is evaluated or non-valuated or non-stock is the material type. To create a material code, the T code is MM01. Now if I go to this transaction, you can see that I have to enter an industry and a material type. Now without entering this material type, I cannot create a material code. This configuration, that whether a material is valuated or non-valuated or non-stock, is entered in this material type configuration. So let's first see the material type configuration. So we'll go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG. We'll go to logistics general, then material master, basic settings. And then you can see here, define attributes of material types. Now if I go here, for raw material, the standard material type is ROH. So we'll enter ROH and press enter. So you can see here, this is the material type ROH. To see the details, I can double click here or I can click on this details button. So let's double click here. Now let's see this part in the material type configuration. This much we are interested now. So this part says quantity or value updating. Now this particular configuration actually tells the system that whether it is a valuated or non-valuated or a non-stock item. So you can see here there are two columns. One is for quantity updating and another is for value updating. And you have three options in each of these columns. Now what are these three options? You have quantity updating in all valuation areas, in no valuation area, by valuation area. Similarly, in value updating, you have in all valuation areas, in no valuation area, and by valuation area. So now to understand this, first we'll have to understand what is a valuation area. Because you can see here quantity and value are being configured based on valuation areas. So valuation area is an entity at which we are going to valuate the material. That is the field based on which we are going to save the value of the material. Now SAP has given provision to define valuation area at two levels. You can either define it at plant level or you can define it at company code level. Okay, let's see that configuration. So we'll go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG. Then we'll go to enterprise structure, definition, logistics general. And here you can see define valuation level. Now this particular configuration tells the system that at which level you are going to define your valuation area. Now if I execute this, you have only two options and you can see this is not editable. This is in gray mode. The first option is valuation area is a plant and the second option is valuation level is a company code. Now SAP allows you to define the valuation area at plant level or at company code level, and this is done at the time of implementation of SAP. Once you have implemented and once you have selected this option, you can no longer change it. Now you can see here this is not editable. You have selected valuation area as a plant and you can no longer change it to valuation level at company code. Now this is because SAP allows you to select this particular configuration at the time of SAP implementation only. You can select this configuration only once, and once you have saved this configuration, then it is not possible to change it. So you can see here, this is the place where we configure that at which level our valuation area is lying. So wherever you see the valuation area in any configuration or any report, you have to understand that it is equivalent to your plant. So wherever we are seeing that valuation area is mentioned, it means a plant. So if we again go to the material type configuration, you can see here system says that quantity updating in all valuation area, in no valuation area, and by valuation area. It means in all plants, in no plant, and by plant. So now you can see for both quantity and value, this checkbox is selected, that is by valuation area. So now you are saying that this particular material has got quantity and value updating activated based on plant. And where we can configure that, we have to go to this particular link here, quantity/value updating. If I double click here, system will give all valuation areas. In turn, these are the plants. As we have just now seen that valuation area is defined as plant in this configuration. You can see here. So these are the plants. This is the material type, and these checkbox you can select individually for each plant and material type combination. So for our material type ROH and our plant, let's enter our plant here. So we'll enter plant in the valuation area field. So you have to understand this, that wherever system is telling you valuation area, you have to enter plant because you have defined valuation area as a plant. Okay. So I've entered the plant here and I'll press OK. So you can see for our plant, quantity and value both have been selected. So this is a valuated material for this plant. So the idea of this particular configuration is that you can have a material valuated in certain valuation area or plant, or you can have a material non-valuated or non-stock in other plants. So now what we have configured here is that this material ROH shall be a valuated material based on valuation area or based on plant. And that configuration we have done here. So just now we saw that for our plant, this material is a valuated material. So if we create a material with material type ROH, system will create a valuated material. Now let's see the configuration of a non-valuated material. So the standard non-valuated material type given by SAP is UNBW. So we'll enter here UNBW and we'll press enter. So you can see here the description is non-valuated material. This is the standard material type given by SAP for non-valuated material. If we double click here and if we go down, you can see for quantity updating, it is by valuation area as it was there for raw material. But for value updating, you can see here in no valuation area is selected. So what does this tell the system? That your quantity update will happen, but the value update will not happen. You can see here value updating in no valuation area, or in our case in no plant, and quantity updating by valuation area. So again, we'll have to go here and see for our plant whether quantity updating has been activated or not. So we'll enter the plant here. And you can see here quantity updating is activated. So for our plant, the quantity updating is there, but the value updating is not there. And that is why for our plant, this material is a non-valuated material. If we go back, we can see for value, the configuration is that value updating will happen in no valuation area and quantity updating will happen in valuation area, which we just now configured here. Now let's see the non-stock material. So the standard material type given by SAP for non-stock material is NLAG, that is NLAG. So we'll enter NLAG here and we'll press enter. Now you can see here the description is non-stock material. If we double click this and if you scroll down, you can see for quantity updating, the selection is in no valuation area, and for value updating, the selection is in no valuation area. So for both these options, that is quantity updating and value updating, is not happening in any valuation area or in any plant. So for this item, whatever posting we'll do, there will be no updation in the quantity or no updation of the value. And this is configured here that you have selected this checkbox that value updating does not happen in any valuation area, quantity updating does not happen in any valuation area. And whenever I say this word valuation area, you have to understand that this is a plant because of this configuration, that your valuation level is a plant. That is, your valuation area is a plant. Okay. So this completes our material type configuration, that how a material is identified by the system as a valuated, non-valuated or a non-stock material. Now let's create some material codes and see how we can do the transactions against those material codes. So first we'll create a raw material. So we'll go to T code MM01 and we'll select the material type as ROH. And we'll press enter. So we'll select the basic data 1 view, the purchasing view, the storage view, and the accounting 1 view. Now because this is a valuated material, so you will have to maintain the accounting view of the material. And we'll press enter. Then we have to enter the plant and the storage location. And we'll press enter. So now we are going to create the code for coffee. So we'll enter coffee here. And we'll mention a valuated also, so that we can easily identify this particular material. So we'll enter valuated here. Then we have to enter unit of measure. So let's enter kg, then material group. Then we'll press enter. Again, we'll press enter. Here we'll have to enter the valuation class. So we'll take a drop down and we'll select this 3000, that is for raw material, and we'll press enter again. Then we'll save this material. So let's save this material code. So now our material 20542 has been created, and this is for your coffee, that is a raw material and a valuated material. Okay. We have to create a non-valuated material. So we'll select material type as UNBW and we'll press enter. Now we'll select the basic data 1 view, the purchasing view, and because this is a non-valuated material, so you will not find the accounting 1 view here because there is no accounting applicable for this material, so it will not have any accounting 1 view. So we'll select storage 1 only. So we'll have basic data 1, purchasing and storage 1. Enter the plant, storage location, and we'll press enter. And here we'll create the material code for our paper cups. So we'll enter paper cup. And here we'll mention non-valuated for easy identification. Enter unit of measure, material group. Then we'll just save this material code. So we have 1102 created for our paper cups. So now in the third step, we'll create a non-stock material. So to create the non-stock material, we have to select material type as NLAG, that is NLAG. So you can see here NLAG is for non-stock material. We'll press enter. Now here we have to select basic data 1 view and the purchasing view. Now you can see here there is no storage view here and there is no accounting view also. So as we have discussed that a non-stock material will not have a value updation and a quantity updation both. So you do not require the storage location data also and you do not require the accounting data also. And we'll press enter. We'll enter our plant and press enter. And this time I'm going to create material code for straws. So let me mention the description. So I'll enter straws and I will enter non-stock to identify this material. We'll enter the unit of measurement, material group, and we'll save this. So our material 1105 is created. So now we have all three types of material created in the system. We have material code for coffee, that is the raw material and that is a valuated material. We have material code for paper cups, that is a non-valuated material, and we have a material code for straws, that is a non-stock material. Now let's create a purchase order for all these three material and see how system behaves. So we'll go to T code ME21N. So we have 20542 for coffee, 1102 for paper cups, and 1105 for straws. So we'll enter all these three codes and we'll press enter. Now we'll enter the plant. We'll enter the quantity. So we'll enter 1000 kg. And then for paper cups, we'll enter 10,000 quantities. And for straws, we'll enter 10,000 quantities again. And now we'll press enter. Now you can see we are getting the same error that I showed you at the starting of this video. That is account assignment mandatory for material 1102. Now why this error is coming, let's understand that. Now we have already discussed that this material 1102, that is the paper cups, is a non-valuated material. Now what happens when you do GR for a non-valuated material? The value that you enter in the purchase order, that is the value you enter here, cannot be posted to the material inventory because the material is configured in such a way that material cannot take the value, it can only take quantity. So where we are going to post this particular value that we enter in the purchase order? Because we have to pay to the vendor. We have to create a GRIR entry which will be clearing in the MIGO transaction. So for this GRIR entry to happen, there should be an offsetting entry. That is, somewhere you have to post the value of this purchase order. And that is why account assignment becomes mandatory for non-valuated material. That is, you will have to enter the GL account in the PO itself. Then only you will be able to post the GR of a non-valuated material because the material cannot take the value. So the account assignment has to take the value of the purchase order. And that is why this error is coming, that for this material 1102, the account assignment is mandatory. And now you see another error is coming for 1105 also. Now why this error is coming for 1105 also? Because straws are non-stock material. That is, again, you cannot update the value and you cannot update the quantity also. So on value basis, whatever value I'll enter in the purchase order, I cannot post to the inventory of this material. And that is why I will have to enter the account assignment for this material also. So always remember that for non-valuated materials and non-stock materials, you cannot create purchase order without entering the account assignment. A GL is required for posting the PO value because the material code is configured in such a way that the material code cannot store the value. And that is why when you post the GR for these items, you have to enter an account assignment. So let's enter the account assignment for item 20. So we'll enter account assignment as K, and for 30 also we'll enter account assignment as K. Then we'll press enter. Now let's enter some price. And then again we'll press enter. And now we have to enter the account assignment. So you can see here GL account was determined automatically because of the account assignment category configuration. Now if you haven't seen the video on account assignment category configuration, I have kept the link of the playlist in the description. You can check there. There I have discussed that how this GL account was determined automatically from the material code. So you can check the playlist and learn how this GL account was automatically determined. Okay, so this GL account is there. We'll enter the cost center. And for item 30 also, I can enter the cost center here. You would have also noticed that for item 10, no such error was generated by the system. That is, for item 10, the account assignment was not required. Why? Because item 10 is a valuated material. It has the capability to take quantity and value both. And that is why when we do the GR of this material, the value will get updated against this material code. So in summary, this material code is a valuated material, so it can take quantity and the value. This material code is a non-valuated material, so it can take the quantity but it cannot take the value, and that is why you have an account assignment. This material is a non-stock material, so again it cannot take the value, so you have an account assignment. And when we do the GR, we'll see that it will not be able to take the quantity also. Okay, so now let's save this purchase order first. So now our PO is created. Now let's create a GR. So we'll enter goods receipt, purchase order, and here we'll enter the purchase order and we'll press enter. Now you can see all these three items are listed here. We'll just collapse this item detail and here we'll select item OK and we'll post this document. Now you see for item number 1 and 2, system is giving you the error that you have to enter the storage location. Now why this error is not coming for item number 3? Because item number 3 is a non-stock material and no quantity updation has to happen. So system does not expect you to enter any storage location. Okay, so we have to enter storage location for item number 1 and 2. So let's again expand this here and let's enter the storage location for item number 1. And let's click on this item 2 also and enter the storage location and we'll press enter. And now we'll post this document. So now our document is posted. Let's display this document. Now if we go to the document info and click on FI documents and let's open the accounting document, you can see here that only one inventory account has been debited. Let's see the transaction keys also. I'll just keep the transaction keys besides the value. So you can see here only one inventory entry has happened, that is against the raw material, that is the coffee. You can see the transaction key is BSX, and for all other material you have transaction key as KBS, that is for account assigned PO, and the entry has happened against the consumption GL, that is for all zeros. You can see here this is for paper cups and this is for straws. So you have a debit entry in the inventory GL for the raw material, that is coffee, and you have debit entry in the consumption GLs for the non-valuated item, that is the paper cups, and for the non-stock items, that is the straws. Okay, and for all these three entries you have entry in the GRIR account. You can see WRX transaction key. So this is GRIR entry for the coffee, this is the GRIR entry for paper cups, and this is the GRIR entry for the straws. Now let's verify the stock of these materials. So we'll go to MMBE and first we'll check the stock of coffee. So we'll enter the material code for coffee, that is 20542, and we'll execute. So you can see here 1000 has been updated. Now if you want to see the value of this material, then we can go to T code MB52. So let's enter MB52 here and let's execute. So you can see here the quantity is 1000 and you have a value of this material shown here. This is the value of the material that we have done the GR just now. Okay, so this is a evaluated material, so you can see the stock also against the storage location and you can see the value that has been updated. Now let us see the stock of the paper cups. So we'll go to MMBE. We'll enter the material code here and we'll execute. So you can see here the quantity has been updated because we created the GR and this is non-valuated material. So quantity updation has to happen. But let us see whether any value updation has happened. So we'll go to MB52 and we'll execute with this material code. Now you see storage location is there, quantity is there, but value is 0. You can see here no value updation has happened against this material code. You can see here this material code is 1102, that is the paper cups. If you want to see the description, we can select this material description here. You can see here this is paper cups. Again storage location you have 10,000 available, and if you want to see the value is 0. You can see here the value updation has not happened. And the whole value was posted to the consumption GL that we entered against the account assignment for the PO line item for this material. When we created the PO, you saw we got the error to enter account assignment. We entered the account assignment, and when we created the GR, the whole value was posted against the GL and the cost center combination and not against this particular material code. So this is the concept of non-valuated material. Now let us verify the stock of the non-stock material. So we'll go to MMBE again. And this time we'll enter the material code for the straws. So 1105 we have to enter and we'll execute. Now you can see here no stock updation has happened. You cannot see any stock here for this particular material code. Now why this has happened? Because this is a non-stock material. It has been configured in such a way that when you create GR, neither quantity nor value will get updated against this particular material code. And we can verify this here only, that you can see here that there is no stock updation happened and no stock is visible in MMBE transaction. So in this way we saw how we can do GR for a valuated, non-valuated and non-stock material. For valuated material, the quantity and value both got updated. For non-valuated material, the quantity got updated but value updation did not happen. And for non-stock material, neither quantity nor value was updated. And whole configuration was controlled by the material type. So this is all about this concept. I hope that you've understood this concept and I hope that you've liked this video. If you like my videos, then please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thanks a lot.